The Subcommittee on Federal Impacts on Minnesotans and Economic. We do not yet have a quorum, so we will to adopt the nonpartisan hearing until more folks arrive. But we will get started with our hearing today. As colleges and universities, state, and with 2 decades, it was down, tuition was up, and there were serious questions about how long to continue to operate. For the state took bold steps to put our colleges and universities back on the right track. We made historic investments in higher education with funding that went directly towards affordable households, like the North Star Promise tuition-free program. The result: enrollment soared, campuses revived, and the regional economic impact of hundreds of communities that our colleges and universities feed into and even thrived. As this committee has learned on so many topics these past few months, none of this is possible without a federal government. Since his inauguration, Donald Trump has scientists. He has sued dozens of political reasons and of dollars in research grants and tuition support. Last week, some of us met with students, faculty, and leaders in northern Minnesota. Thank you to UMD for hosting us. To hear how these federal actions and threats universities, students, and researchers. Layoffs coming, student loan debt ballooning. We heard scientific research who would succeed them in future generations. Those changes would undermine every step we've taken at the state level to restore our colleges. Our best hope to keep young Minnesotans here and attract the next generation like me, who came to friends, start a job, start a family, and never leave. These institutions generate billions of dollars. Cultural and social impact in our communities and neighborhoods cannot be measured. Members, in your packets, you'll find materials that are helpful to understand the issues that we'll hear about today. Hold their questions until the end of a testifying. President Pribanow, please join us first at the testimony table. If you would just introduce yourself for the record, and then please present your testimony when you're.
Paul Pribanow, the president of Augsburg, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to share testimony about the recent federal administration policies and actions that have had an impact on staff and campus community. Like several of my higher education colleagues who will follow, continuation of specific programs that served our students. 2 significant grants were terminated at Augsburg. The first termination, Stokes Alliance for Minority Participation Grant, which is a foundation aimed at increasing the number of technology, engineering, and mathematics degree populations, including African American Indian, Alaska Native, Native Hawaiian, and Native Pacific Islander students. The program to enhance student success and promote diversity in STEM fields. Minnesota institutions that participated in this program, and the grant amount was $100 student scholarship funds. The nation was our TRIO federally funded initiative aimed at preparing studies through research and scholarly activities. The program is designed students and those from traditionally underrepresented gain the necessary skills and resources to succeed in graduate education. The program engage in research, receive mentorship, and are encouraged to pursue increasing the number of students from those backgrounds in doctoral programs. For 25 years, for another 5 years. The grant, totaling $785,000, supported 3 staff positions, all of which were eliminated. Support services for students applying to graduate. We were one of 18 McNair programs out of 200, and the reason given was that our renewal proposal, written during the Biden administration, referred to anti-racism training that Augsburg offered for faculty and staff. After January 20th of this year, we had, and we highlighted that fact in our appeal of the decision. The denial of our appeal came back swiftly within a couple of days, even in the original termination letter, without. We were clearly pulled out that identified words the Trump administration had applications. As difficult as these funding losses have been for our students, our experience certainly pales in comparison to institutions. They nonetheless have added to an atmosphere of fear and anxiety for our community, and that is the larger point I want to emphasize. As you may know, Augsburg in the country. Our student of color, 68% of our students are Pell eligible, 60% of our students are first generation, and we also have other student populations who have been the target of the current administration. Whatever their identities, all of our students from these communities now live in fear that their opportunity to get a college degree could go away at any moment due to the constantly changing policy environment. The recent so-called compact that the Trump administration has suggested for colleges and universities is aimed at undercutting the core values: academic freedom, institutional autonomy, and our commitment to educating students for economic mobility and civic engagement, and thereby receive favorable higher education institutions in our country. The challenge is that the primary forms of federal support for colleges and universities in our country, Supplemental Education Opportunity Grant, college work study, anything that we do or don't do that threatens these Title IV funds is an existential challenge for almost all higher education institutions in our country. The lever of threatening this support, and those funds, those Title IV funds, have generally bipartisan support. President of a university walk a fine line in protecting the institutional autonomy of my institution while also ensuring that we do not lose this critical support for our students, my students, autonomy, and our democracy. I thank you again for this opportunity to offer my testimony and for your thoughtful openness to understand the challenges our colleges and universities face in this current environment. Thank you.
Thank you, President Pribanow. Members, questions? Senator Dibble.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To President Pribanow to say thank you to Augsburg for the huge heart that institution has for serving our community, the neighborhoods that I was very, very young. Augsburg, private institution. We're familiar, of course, with the University of Minnesota and its three-legged stool of, education, research, and community engagement and service. And, of course, many private institutions have the same, but Augsburg that third leg is huge at Augsburg, and you do much to it. Otherwise underserved communities thrive, and neighborhoods gain tools they need to pursue success. So I guess my question is, what now? How do you replace the resources that have been withdrawn by our government and our public sector?
Madam Chair, thank you, Senator. To respond to loss of support for students in particular, as I mentioned, we did lose the 3 staff positions, but the students that were in that program, then we've picked up support for them through alternative sustainable, but in the short term to be able to support the students that were, that termination this academic year, so in some ways they were already involved in the kind of work that was going to prepare them to go to graduate school. So to continue to be strong advocates for these programs, which again, primarily income-based programs, so it's not, they're not about race or ethnicity, they really are levels, but at the same time for us to be seeking support from that have helped to fill that gap that we find in individual donors as well as foundations that in the short term are stepping up stepping up in the short term to help us meet that need. So,
Senator Dibble? Members, Senator McQuaid.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you so much, President Pribanow, for being here. And then you used the word anathema. Administration's compact would have asked. Talk a little bit about that.
yeah.
President Pribanow?
Yeah, Senator, Madam Chair, Senator. Yes, the compact had a variety of different components to it. You know, basically it was attempting to agree to certain aspects of their allowed. So, you know, demand anyway. You know, again, it was provided, if you will, that folks would sign up for that, and of course the leverage for them was support for some of the other grant programs that have. There also were concerns, as rightly so, around anti-Semitism on certain campuses that you know has not been an issue on most of to support our students from the variety of different perspectives they bring to the bear. So there were just things that were really around taking away the autonomy of institutions to be able to determine how. And I think it was this notion that somehow there was a narrative that we were language they use when in fact, as I like to point out, Augsburg for 156 years has met the students who come to our campus, has given them a great education, and then sent them out in the world to help our communities give back to their communities. And so in many ways, the compact was attempting to provide some oversight and control over those kind of functions that we've had for.
Senator McQuaid?
Oh, you know, it's pretty clear, and then how they act, and I think I'm, also really struck by the idea that training was the reason that you've lost these Trio McNair grants, and I may racist, maybe you would have gotten them back, but it is really startling what we're seeing towards academic freedom and thought and truth and history and just students and our great universities here.
Thank you. Senator Marty.
Thank you, Madam Chair and President. Second what Senator Dibble said about the incredible work that Augsburg's been doing. I wanted to say I appreciate how you spoke out against the intimidation, against the fear. It's basically we see a dictatorial kind of control. We want to tell you what to think, what to teach, how to. I think the higher education institutions standing up to it firmly are about the only thing we can do right now, because, as you said, that's core to who you are. So thank you for that, and I appreciate your highlighting the intimidation and fear, not just among the students, but anybody who cares about teaching.
President Perpenow?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, you know, for us, part of to build a narrative about higher education that's actually undercut our democratic principles, that in some ways we are places that are that the truth is our alternative narrative to that, which you know, we're not perfect. None of us claim to be perfect. Affordability, all the kinds of questions that you've raised here, we're all aware of those kinds of things, but that false narrative that's being, you know, is in fact raising doubts for people about impact or the role of higher education in our democracy, which has really been the case for 250 years. And you can look at so many different aspects. And I think about, you know, on our campus, I look at those students and they are the future leaders of our businesses, of our civic organizations. They're going to be sitting in these seats at some point in the future. And you know, it's easy for we're on the right side of history, I'm sorry, because that's the demographic change. Those are the students that we have the privilege to educate, and it's really been a real gift to me personally to be the president for now 20 years of an institution that has the commitments that you and Senator Dibble have mentioned, and that really clearly are built into the DNA of the place. And we're proud to be part of a higher education kind of ecology here in Minnesota too that shares those commitments. My partners and colleagues that are here, along with the others who are not here, I think we all agree that higher education is central to the needs of this state, and that's what we're really committed to.
Senator Dibble, and then we'll move on.
To make another observation. As long as we're, I know that the focus of this hearing is on the tangible and practical effects of withdrawing research and its effects on our economy and ability to prosper and thrive as a state. It's a giant subject. But we're also talking about our democratic traditions and civil society, people's ability to thrive and prosper and exercise lessons of this country. And as we look at steps that, for example, Viktor Orban and others to take the democratic system and move it towards a more autocratic, authoritarian system. Control and power, support and serve the people, starting with the judiciary, of course, and the legislative branch. Open up the newspaper any day now in our country, and we're seeing deliberate steps on the part of this administration to do these exact things. Electoral systems, the independent regulatory bodies, nonprofits, and philanthropic organizations, the military, law enforcement, arts and culture, and education, higher education. We heard discussion of these compacts that the Trump administration, the president was demanding through use of black, that all of our higher education is so that he can use our national education system to promote his ideas, encourage what he views national unity to be, discourage any thought outside of what is ordained and approved by him and our government. What we're discussing today, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Dibble. We appreciate you joining us.
Thank you so much.
On to St. Catherine's University, Catherine Campbell, and please join us up at the testifiers table. Once you're settled, if you would introduce yourselves for the record and then present your testimony when you're ready.
Katie Campbell, and I am an associate professor at St. Catherine University and the assistant vice president for sponsored programs, research. Recently, I was also the principal investigator on a research education program funded through the National Institute of Aging. I'm grateful for the opportunity to testify today regarding the impact of recent federal grant terminations on St. Catherine University, a 120-year-old institution dedicated to educating women to lead and influence in their communities. Notably, St. Kate's is a minority student demographic among our peers. 52% of our college 43% of our undergraduates are first-generation college students, and 44%. Sweeping and capricious federal funding cuts have resulted in significant and immediate harm to our students, faculty, and staff. As of today, 5 federal grants totaling over $2.4 million have administration's agenda to dismantle diversity, equity, and inclusion. Unlike our peers at public universities, awards as a result of the lawsuits brought forward, the private institutions have not had the same federal funding reinstated. As a small institution, this is a substantial loss, and one that is felt in real time by students and faculty relying on competitively earned dollars from both the NSF and the NIH to support their academic and professional advancement. Our success in securing these federal awards is because the programs we developed supported long-term but quickly eroding government goals to advance scientific discovery and improve human regardless of background. One specific example of the impact of this federal funding loss on our students is the termination of the CARE grant, a $1.98 million 5-year grant funded through the National Institute of Aging R25 mechanism titled Advancing Diversity in Aging Research. Care under-resourced students to become the next generation of Through this highly successful program of curricular and mentored research experiences, our students engaged in geroscience research to improve health span and lifespan by targeting root causes of aging. Moreover, we coined the term gerojustice, social and physical factors. To our dismay, on May 27th, as our current cohort of 18 research students were literally in transition to their summer research projects at Mayo Clinic, the University of Minnesota, and at St. Kate's, we were notified that our grant had been summarily terminated. The immediate impact was that we had to let our full-time grant coordinator go, and we spent the next month scrambling to find funding for our students, young women who had arranged their lives to do this important work. Longer term, 4 years, we are unable to recruit a new cohort of eager scholars this fall. Most disturbingly, our current students and those who graduated over the last few years are now facing incredible challenges landing. So much of the federal funding research infrastructure is being targeted by the current administration. These actions are clearly detrimental to our future health and vitality. In closing, I want to ask for your advocacy and support of our students at St. Catherine University. Among the Minnesota private colleges, we serve students from households below the median income level of our peers and are proud to rank #1 in economic mobility for our students. In short, we provide rich educational opportunities for students who are often left out of higher education. If this committee considers any state-funded solutions to the federal grant impacts, we ask that you consider treating federal grants lost at nonprofit institutions in the same way as you would those at public institutions. And their future economic stability. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Ms. Campbell. Ms. Ab, and then present your testimony.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Nisteo. Concentrations in Public Policy and Community Health at St. Catherine University. I'm here today to share with you the impact the CARE program has had on my peers and me. My first semester of sophomore year, academic journey and career path due to changes in public health. I am a refugee and a first-generation student, and about my life's work at this moment. Programs that work to uplift students. The program has been a godsend for me at a time when I needed a chance. someone or something to show me why I love the fields that I love: research, public health, and policy. The CARE program at Cmte has done more for me than I could ever explain to you. It has shown me that success in the research field is within my reach. It has instilled in me the belief that as a young Black woman in this day and age, where inequities are still of change, it has shown me that I can and I will make a positive. Contrary to popular belief, the CARE grant and others like it do not work to give chances to undeserving individuals. Service and justice as it serves to dismantle barriers specific to certain communities. When we cut grants, when we and our female students that their research, quote, notice, does nothing to expand our knowledge of living systems, provide low returns on investments, and ultimately do not enhance health, lengthen life, or reduce illness, end quote. We limit the impact our students and research can make. To make necessary changes to medicine, technology, and psychology. We cannot let this go on. We cannot jeopardize our students' opportunities and our potential as a society, as a diversity, equity, and inclusion. The actions that the federal government has taken have caused significant harm to our students and broader society as we limit research opportunities. I am currently in the application process to be a Truman Scholar, a highly competitive and prestigious scholarship to enroll in graduate school for public policy. This aligns perfectly with my aspirations and goals of making a meaningful. From my perspective as a student, the recent federal changes to how student loans are made available are especially significant, and not just financially, but because the rules now cap the amount students can borrow and professional programs, some in any programs or choose different institutions that cost less. For the ability to stay in programs. If students borrow less, they might struggle to drop out or transfer if they realize the debt burden is higher than expected or aid. Access to education is still tied to loans, but the new federal policy environment means that the decision to start college, the choice of programs, and the ability to stay through to completion are increasingly shaped by how these loan changes calculus. In the years to come, I will be in the positions that you are in now. I will be a senator, I will be a policymaker. My peers will be scientists, doctors, engineers, epidemiologists. There will be people who will make positive and impactful changes to the world that we live in now. We have unwavering hope in our state and our country. But to be those people, to be policymakers, doctors, and change makers, we need people to first believe in us, in our research, and in our program and others like it that work to uplift us and educate us. Sitting here today, if there's one thing I hope you carry with you, it's this. There was a time when you needed a chance. There was a time when I needed a chance, and you and I got those chances. I ask of you to do what you can to ensure that all students, no matter who they are or where they come from, are given that chance. I ask that you do your part in protecting grants like the CARE program. Energy in your presence today.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Senator Mann.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you both very much. Is it Dr. Campbell?
It is.
Thank you, Dr. Campbell. When these grants are suspended, terminated, do you get time to put together a contingency plan? What does it look like when a program?
Thank you, Senator, for that question. Thank you, Madam Chair. With the CARE grant, it was effective immediately upon notice of termination. So the planning, we were in reactive.
Senator Mann.
Thank you, Dr. Campbell, Madam Chair. So I think, of higher education purposefully certainly in destroying that because what we got from the White House was a printout needed to be terminated, and it was pretty much any. So some of those words: multicultural, trauma, and the one that's my favorite, they wanted to terminate all research that had the word. The least they could do, right, if this was being done in good faith to save money or whatever else they're saying, was to give you time to set up for success, even if the money was being terminated. But that's not what's being done, right? They are, again, purposely destroying. And so with the most chaos possible. Today, for everyone who's here today, these things out loud. Because at this time in our history, like this before, and standing up, using their voices and things.
Senator Make-Wade.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Senator Mann. I have a few questions, but the first one is, Ms. Abdi, would you be willing?
Which does nothing to expand our knowledge of living, health, lengthen life, or reduce illness.
Senator.
Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am the first woman in my entire family to be able to start my own credit card or get a loan at 18. Like, that's how long women have been able to do that. I'm 39, I'm a millennial, elder millennial, but I'm 39. I'm the first woman born in my family who was able to take a credit card. And St. Kate's, I'm a Tommy, but has been educating women for longer than it was acceptable to. Cusping on when it was legal to. At a very alarming. From cancers, colon cancer, deaths for a lot of reasons. I can't think of a better return on investment, personally, than figuring out why and solving it. I'm looking at, you talked about focusing on our seniors. We are fully in the senior tsunami, and every single day, demographics. But one of the things we grapple with is how to keep people who are aging healthier for longer, needing thriving with their families, so on and so forth. And I heard you mention that there were researchers going to Mayo that had their Mayo, and I would love to hear what that looks like in community. I'm just really taken aback by the overtness of basically saying women don't matter, that educating women of color or LGBTQ people don't matter. I mean, it's so overt. Or that people who don't make a lot of money or don't come from, what else are we supposed to take? Is so important. So incredibly valued here at the legislature. And we are, part of the reason we do this is to make sure that we can know all of the things that we're going into. Right? And so this fact-finding mission is alarming, but I'm so grateful to you. When you were speaking, I was like, oh, she'd be a really good state senator. So I'm very glad you have that plan already in place, but it's just shocking, and I know we'll keep hearing more shocking things, but it's worth mentioning.
Thank you, Senator. The agenda, and we should move along, but I'm literally sweating. It's so appalling to not just cut research under clearly demographic, political, ideological lines, as out, but to do it with the connected to receiving a letter like that. Your work has no value. I don't understand how that is a view, someone's view of the world. The work Minnesota universities and colleges that across this state do has incredible value to our state. On investment, not just monetary value, it keeps your grandparents alive longer with a better quality of life. We were up in Duluth, it protects our environment, it protects our forests and our lakes, and I really am sorry that you received that letter, because that is absolutely the antithesis of how we in Minnesota value higher education. Your research matters, it is valuable in many ways, and we will save an incredible legislator someday. Senator Dibble.
I apologize, don't mean to step on your. I'll go quick because I know we have a lot more testimony. Both of you, particularly Ms. Abdi. And I'm sorry for what you're going through, but I thank you for maintaining that forward for public service, but also in your career as a public health professional. I was just a member of Congress on public radio. Is bad, and we bend the cost curve down. I agree with that in the delivery of health care, and a major way public health, and we need to support public health. I'm glad the subject of Mayo Clinic came not here because I put together some notes. Headquartered in Rochester, is a top-tier research institution, a training global destination for patients, an estimated almost $10 billion, 4% of our state's gross domestic product. It employs Destination Medical Center initiative is leveraging 5.6 private investment to attract additional private development, create tens of thousands of jobs, and generate billions in new tax revenue. Why would we support? The stupidity and the bigotry is mind-boggling, Madam Chair.
Senator Dibble. Senator Marty.
Madam Chair, just one again for your testimony, powerful. I want to second what you said about the impact of these cuts is going to hurt our quality of life, it's going to hurt our life expectancy, it's going to hurt every part of things, but it does. Some person's attempt to make society better, it seems an attempt at cruelty. Everybody else, they want to punish people. That's what bothers me most about it. Well, so I'm sorry I have to cut out, but thank you.
Thank you both very much for your testimony. We really appreciate you joining us. We will move now to St. Scholastica, and our next testifier is on Zoom. Dr. Kaja Savoy in Duluth last week. If you can unmute.
Madam, testify on the federal decisions that are impacting our students' interest in these impacts. I am an associate professor and program director of the occupational therapy program at the College of St. I am also the co-project director for a 5-year U.S. Department of Education grant that was recently non-continued. The non-continuation cuts short the project by 2 years and cuts about $1 million in anticipated funds for the project. Reasons for as the grant provides prior administration's priorities and policy preferences and conflicts with those of purpose of federal civil policy for prioritizing merit, fairness, and excellence in education. This particular grant was developed through school-based mental health providers, which can include occupational therapists, they need, and reducing barriers that deter. It is a critical grant for the local area. Increase the number of providers trained to support children with mental health shortages in especially rural areas like northern Minnesota, where our college. There is also a grant that provided direct service limits their ability to support children. As of this month, we have work with 1,300 K through 12 students annually and have provided district staff across our sites, occupational therapy practitioners. Mental Health Fellowship Program, which is the Association Fellowship, to provide advanced pipeline training for licensed professionals. The college has also experienced uncertainty around other grants, namely student aid that supports students across the college. While the impact of uncertainty around granting these grants, like the OT programs, mental health through stipends, which offset the cost of education of our whole community within the workforce. Expansion of services, we need resources, especially within. It limits innovation to address the needs of local communities. Healthcare, without outside, may never occur, or their workforce development in Minnesota. Any questions?
Thank you very much, Dr. Members, questions?
Testimony, and thank you for stepping. Something caused my ears to perk up, and that was of the grant supporting work in mental health as a recognized. Can you talk a little bit more about that, please?
Chair, thank you, Senator. Occupational therapy option grounded within mental health originated back in World War I when veterans and people coming. Over time, we have used practice models as we work with clients. To be able to work with individuals, to be able to get, that can be anything from being a particular grant was supporting activities and a really physical ability, but also the mental ability to are really poised and positioned for those services, especially in the school-based undermine or to remove additional but really to be able to expand and to be able to use your providers at the top of their licensure.
I would just invite for everyone in what was just, and I'd also invite the public headlines and the rhetoric we see in newspaper, the delivery of mental health care and mental health services in all places. But pay attention to what people do, what they prioritize with their newspaper about how important mental health is. It's backed up by action. Health services by the. I invite people to speak up and stand. We have a fair shot. These issues of gun violence.
Other questions, member? Thank you, Ms. Suvayoya. We really appreciate you meeting with us last week at the roundtable.
Thank you very much for your time.
We will move now to St. Thomas. Nielsen Gatti, please. You could just introduce yourself for the record and then present your.
Thank you, Madam Chair and committee members. Gatti. I am a professor of education. I, like you, 1996 to further my education and have never left. I've been teaching or working as a special education teacher. My department and colleagues in my department have been through different grants, both state, federal, to address the financial barrier of. Recently, we were successful in receiving 2 of the largest federal grants, and I was the co-director of 2 of these. It's been wonderful to hear my colleagues across and your also dialogue around the impact cuts are affecting students at St. Thomas, school communities across the state. But before I do so, the importance of teachers and teachers matter. My dean, it's true, every job and effective teachers strengthen our school life of every community in Minnesota. Serious teacher shortage in our state. The outcomes of the 2023. Just to ground us in this, and I'm assuming that November of every other year. Within the state, across every economic, to fill a position with a teacher holding a either being somewhat significantly or very shortage, and the licensure area to license or an out-of-field permission remained consistent. Our university and our School of Education in developing teacher pathway teacher. We know the #1 barrier as well as state and philanthropic funds. In the federal grants, 2 Office of OSEP grants, these funded licensure areas special education. We currently social work interdisciplinary. We had 2 Department of Education or these grants are not easy to get. Quality Partnership Grant in 20 partnership grant, a TQP grant, and years to replicate our established in St. Paul Public Schools. Residency pathway for charter schools. 1 and Tier 2 teachers in charter schools out to us and asking us to develop a model of residency that apprentice-like experience with education and learn to teach alongside an effective. One of the biggest costs in teacher resident paid to the teacher resident. So through the TQP grant to provide a living wage. As I mentioned, this was a 5. During this time, we recruited for the charter schools in Minnesota. 5% of these teachers are still teaching. February 13th, we received an email with an updated grant award that stated we didn't get as much as St. Kate's did about why our grant was canceled. All it said is that the grant this did not include any Department of Education. As I mentioned before, the biggest expense funded our grant, and we had 21 current students to earn their teaching license. Of our students across 11 charter to go of their program, they had a choice to go their dream of becoming a teacher in their program without pay. Say that all 21 did finish the program and are currently teaching. We were able to scramble with our school partners to fund them in other positions so that they can complete their program. Submitted a supporting effective educator scholarships for over 300. This was a 3-year grant that supported 3 unique pathways to becoming that teacher residency program, which I mentioned before. In addition to our charter residency, we have had with St. Paul Public Schools and Minneapolis Schools. Also, SEED provided licensure program. These Tier 2 teachers to receive their license. Termination of our SEED grant, 60% other than Minneapolis and St. Paul. Especially supporting a pathway from our Doherty 4-year program to get a teaching license. We received an email from Mark Washington, the Deputy Assistant Secretary, because the grant was inconsistent and no longer. That's all we heard. At the 6 students who are receiving SEED scholarships across the state of Minnesota, representing a specific number of. We were able to only award scholarships for year 2 of our grant. Terminations left us 5, and we could have doubled that had we continued. $400,000 in living wage stipends. Research and evaluation dollars to examine the effectiveness of these models and ripple effects on individuals. We don't even know what the ripple effect is because of this. We have filed appeal termination last winter. We bring some relief to our students who were impacted. Unfortunately, our appeals of the SEED grant termination is still pending. Vote filed against the Department of Education by various trade groups state these grants. This 20 years at St. Thomas, I get a chance to work with teacher educators weekly. I see how life-changing this is for our students and for their students and families. For many candidates, becoming a teacher provides upward mobility and greater financial stability for them and their families. Human consequences. Taking the time to bring attention to these really.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair, and Tommy's. I'm so proud to be a Tommy. I remember when we had an education committee hearing their programs, and they were talking, I mean, they were special ed teachers. You talked about the, they're a, over. Ms. Scotty.
Are you asking me that? Right now, are you talking about higher education? Supply and demand, no, it can continue. Districts continue to area in special education.
I sit on the education committees and more paras through special education preparation programs, but it's DEI is special education, but that's what inclusion is including people with disabilities and just color and disabled people and LGBTQ people and women. Like this is trying to suss out looking like for a student in a special ed.
Well, thank you for asking that question. It looks a lot of different ways. If the position is not filled by things can happen. One is that the students that they're receiving services is for more students and their job becomes even. What can happen is the district can hire people. It might be a paraprofessional who has a graduate degree that steps into a family member that's familiar with. It might be somebody who's been and are looking for teaching positions but have earned sort of experience, and then significant learning needs with people with.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I think it's just really important to know this, and Professor Gatti, if I get any of this wrong, you tell me. Making sure that we have students in the least restrictive environment needed so that they can learn along with First grade teacher has curriculum. It's the same curriculum. And then with their teaching and training, adapt to learn at that same curriculum. That is an incredible amount of work. So much knowledge. And you mentioned family. Go into my daughter's class today and be like, hey, adapt. And most people wouldn't. Most teachers able to do that. And so it is just so important to name that the people that we leave behind by this gutting are students with futures when they have the right support. Second-class citizens, and some are not, and that's supposed to be about. It's the opposite of what public. Thank you so much for the work that you do and all of the teachers. But we have to do this work. This is the federal government's job, and so again, a long list of things that the state right to an appropriate education and don't have that aren't learning, and that's not what we want.
Chair, as the promise and went on to be and is a brilliant Bancroft. Thank you for every data that tells me that she's brilliant, very, very highly regarded. But when she went through student teaching, really, really difficult. And so she just to help with living expenses. Teacher, and I think it is mind-boggling that it and things like that. That cohort of 21 made it through miracle and give special education and just teaching in general. In higher education, but Donald, and it's not a surprise because control information, exploit ignorance, and do all kinds of authoritarians do. As well. In the idiocy and how self to jobs and to overall skills to prosperity is just. Thank you.
Thank you. We at the legislature are the cost and the value over many years. Different kind of attack on work in many ways and but so critical to build, as Senator McQuaid, the bright. Thank you so much, and if you would please take our thanks back to your program and we will now shift to the June Young Cho. Introduce yourself for the record and then present your.
Junhyung Cho, and I serve as Minnesota. The university legal developments and agency research portfolio and ensure as of Monday, November, funded research awards. These include U.S. Agency for Agriculture, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. Executive orders and changes. The unexpended balance $1 million in research spent, except for limited quantity. About 21%, 17% in the College of Minnesota Duluth. Impacted. Campuses, Twin Cities, Morris, showing that if delays in more than 110, we have not yet tracked the university compliance and working with our research programs. Please answer any questions the committee may have.
First questions, Senator May-Quade.
Could you said there were 101 awards terminated. Can you just talk about, say like this one was shocking, or put some color into those 101 awards?
Unfortunately, that's something we'll get back to you.
Any follow-up, Senator May-Quade?
Here today. We talk a lot, just really put a point on the human 101 programs terminated. We cannot train the next when we halt research programs. Cells can't take a break working when you ask them to just to pause. That doesn't happen. So they also threw away scientists and grad students in. And so what was they took away people's time. Earth, waiting for their canceled, and it no longer exists. We had left. At the base of all this is really authoritarian 101. It's easier to control them when you keep out surviving and not fighting back. Happening at the university.
Senator
Again, did a little. 25 startup companies. Since 2006, since the founding of their ventures, with a long-term, and those sort of, Madam Chair, that's just applied research. of innovation. It's that long of potential payoff, the research. The university was health professionals, graduates tens of thousands of students each year. Business, IT, education, our high-skilled labor force and leadership of any size. And if we want to talk about demographic shifts, it's not the super duper wealthy elite that we keep hearing about who are leaving for Florida. Families, businesses build communities, buy homes. That generates economic impact in more than 25,000 kind that you can think of, and then just for their local communities, whether that's Crookston, Duluth, Morris, Rochester, $1 billion per campus. Why would we even waste one supporting an administration that I can't imagine? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I actually found the article. Mr. Cho could, but there is an article. Malaria vaccines, undergraduate research off infections, biologist researcher, study cancer. That's literally her job. They were saying, what happens if cancer study? This is all the once they get the right treatment. We saw pediatric cancer grants. Why? Deserve every chance in the world to grow up and be joyful and make mistakes. Whatever they want to do. Hey, my kid is healthy right now. So, was their last hope. This research of a genetic disease that is a cure or treatment by the time, and it's unfair and it's not giving billionaires a bunch of research. But I want to. I'm the daughter and wife of. If I didn't say Sky Yuma, but. We have produced groundbreaking things here in the state of Minnesota. There'll be a brain drain from the state of Minnesota. And I mean, nobody wants to come to a research and making those breakthroughs. There was not too long ago, we were going for the. What a shift in such a short. I want to thank you all for the work that you do and know that you have our backfill the federal government. We will continue to be partners.
Thank you, Mr. Cho. I would talk about this, but I came to a golden gopher, if Aaron gets to brag about being helping me fall in love. I love it here. I don't ever, and I credit the after COVID, And there was, through what was going on, and the university was one of people would meet on, we would, and we couldn't be in person. After I was really my only research was absolutely, which I love, and my mission that the university new space exists around research. Research from nothing. Understands how to do research, that researchers, and that work was in of Minnesota. And eventually, working with at the U, suggested a clinic because everyone was for people. And I got in. That is because of and researchers and institutions provide the funding, help provide to and across the country. So just to thank the physicians and the research. As Senator McQuaid said, we can't fill. I will fight with you.
Thank you.
We will now turn to our second agenda. Focus on federally created pension and the ultimate statewide have joining us from the Office of Higher. And if you would please introduce yourself.
Madam Chair and members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to graduates in our colleges and universities. I'll start by noting that college enrollment trends for Minnesota, all of the final fall enrollment data, all reported increased enrollment for this fall. Continue to make up the majority of the over 400 overall 70.5 are Minnesota residents. If we call it two-year college student population, 61% of students at private. The majority of students, just over 70%, will stay in Minnesota and enter our workforce employed in the state within a year after their graduation. Looks strong this fall. The picture may look a little. Minnesota annually enrolls nearly dollars to the state's economy annually, increasing slightly at others. Now, enrollment was down more for new international students compared to continuing students are also still pending, so we don't get visas in early summer 2025. Over 75% of schools surveyed, 75% of schools, 85% of current students accept admission and come to the U.S. 19% reported, 85% had concerns about the level in the UK and in Australia this year, sector specifically. First, a quick update about the current status of Minnesotans who've been serving for over 10 years forgiven through this program. On July 1st, 2026, this will no longer qualify for law. That could include working that provides gender-affirming care for transgender inclusion efforts. And so at this time, we don't have an estimate for how many student loan programs that will also likely, and to acknowledge that there was one piece of good news, pending shortfalls in the Pell Grant eligibility for student Pell maximum award limit, known as Workforce Pell, which will focus on both a regular Pell Grant and a Workforce Pell. However, additional guidelines for this program, there has been across that additional guidance on how that will work. After July 1st, 20 Repayment Assistance Plan, otherwise known as or other income contingent the REP program will also allow for repayment, so that will, in fact, cost program will not offer any income protection. $0 per year will be loan default in the future because they simply. After July 1st, 2027, or anything along those lines, lifetime borrowing limit on all federal students that much money, they're borrow more. The borrowers, although there will be some legacy provisions. After that time, the direct loan program will student borrowers, again, beginning on that July, to $20,500 annually. Not all professional programs, which include time. And just for context, $1,000, which means that there will be a significant of the interest rates on private student loans or borrowers, especially for lower income loans, to $20,000 annually. Again, nationally, there are concerns that these residents will continue to have the option $1,000 per year and up to $100. OHE continues to watch for guidance on them. Thank you so much for your time, and I'm happy to answer questions.
Individually and hearing it all together, I'm like, well, I think is the point, right? It's to keep people from going to education, you know, to be all of that was the case today. Do you have how many students that would impact? Or
Thank you so much for your question. Loan limits won't necessarily be impacted by that. All of those put together will look like
government of, is that what it was called? But like for medical, what? Like what? Doing terrible job numbers. And then people will. Dr. Robinson?
Yes, thank you for them to request the deferment that they new plans that would be available, the minimum monthly poverty line, but yes, there would still be an excess cascading effects on
Senator McVeigh.
Thank you. Very small workers that we've seen, which includes a back, and then if they go into from being able to work in the government in certain places. So what we could be seeing is start using our government to help people and do good because of the financial deficit.
And one of the things that you said in your comments, the allotment and screening on campus and how. And that included international students. You said just really stuck in my brain. Screened fear is a threat to their safety. That is I want our students to feel like a university or loud and clear that it is becoming out a loan that's big enough. Will you be able to job, will you be able to decided serve public to come to our country? It's really like I know many of us have been in our country over the last year. Senator Mann?
Crazy. Like, you keep people uneducated, they're going to punish people for on purpose. You know, 50% of dentistry students who are going to need to borrow more than after your testimony and said, so we already have a doctor shortage. We have people will say they're a fight for health. And that systematically dumb amount of healthcare workers available to support. This is absolutely
Is cheap. The should not be based economy. And I mean, there was so you were talking. You know, I kept picking my is creating against targeting my community. Based services and support for 10 years or so, they can be forbidden from having those loans forgiven. Standards or the demands of the authoritarians and democratic control of someone who's deeming for us.
Dr. Robinson, thank you so much for disturbing testimony. For us to know the full scope. Putting it all together is as we can for you. So thank you. Shift our focus from Min-State, if you would both record and then present your testimony.
Minnesotans and economic stability. Thank you. My name is Nate Peterson, and I serve as the Executive Financial Aid for Students from the University of Minnesota. The University of Minnesota stands ready to implement the University of Minnesota is currently awaiting outcomes from the negotiated rulemaking, thus the impacts to financial aid for our students. We are very cognizant of the required changes. Even though this is we stand ready to lessen the impact on our manual work for higher education institutions that are not limited to the proration of student loan repayment options. The number of impacted students has statistics based on that data. Of our student loan borrowers, that's 280 limit maximum at 257,000 are in professional programs, including loan borrowers. That's 704 borrowing for the student parent to fill student population. That's 2,000 requiring a credit-worthy co-signer. Medical school, 34%, and campus. For nursing, that is 34%. Would be subject to loan proration, also be impacted. Approximately, that's 242 unique students. % of our professional students system-wide.
Present your testimony.
For student affairs and enrollment management. Minnesota State Representative. For context, we award over 12,000 customized training. Council's office has been following the status of the federal government. If there is one word, there is uncertainty surrounding grants tracking cancellation of 9 grants. Cancellations at Minnesota State does not reach financial uncertainty. And that thankfully did not pass. Financial pressure on our institute halted. Programs provide academic tuition college students and individuals with students who participate in TRIO programs on 24 campuses across 1,641 students. Badges and universities have been awarded over in Minnesota. Funding. We are pleased that there's. I'd like to briefly mention student loans. A deal of debate on pausing and forgiving have had to navigate through political relates to our student loans and grants. This ultimately gives the state of 1,000 students attending a Minnesota State college security, mental health concerns, and impact student learning. With the legislative students with approximately 5 million students to leave college before graduation. That provides all students at all. Before I close, I'd like to help students by imposing rigid compliance costs that could delay and undermining our ability to attract the federal rulemaking process, expressing well, everyone benefits, including.
I want to make sure we have time for the students, and I think never called you in your entire life, and I went to college together. Numbers, if you could get those to me. I have 2 questions. The first one is, can you operation, it was like 5% overall, but the Crookston.
Sure, thank you, Senator. So regarding the loan program, approximately 5% of our undergraduate degree seekers.
Senator, to borrow to go to school, and do they make, who are they?
That we refer students to. It's at the these could be banks, these could be this discretion on who they are working with.
It doesn't matter. Let's say I go to Wells Fargo. Percent of interest that I'd be paying on.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Senator.
What is the bracket we'd be working with?
With me, we can work with our government relations to give.
So just be warned, you don't have to answer the question.
Thank you. And Mr. Peterson, if you could share those numbers. Finally, and maybe most importantly, Schmidt and Taylor Olson, if you can come up to the testimony. M. Hodge, ask yourself for the record and please.
Madam Chair, my name is Michaela Holman, County Technical College and Inver Hills Community College. Today, I'm a first generation from high school support I found in these programs. School, I had the opportunity to receive ACT test prep and TRIO student support services in college. As a first-gen student, university, where I would later drop. I then had to take a year off to kind of figure out what I wanted to do because university just wasn't fitting at that time. Since my mom was in the accounting field, I decided to go to school for an accounting diploma, which I did receive in 2019. I decided that I wanted to go back to school. So I decided to finish my degree through Dakota County Technical. If TRIO, I would have dropped out of school. I reached another milestone. State University. I have academic journeys. In 2019, while I was finishing my diploma, I was able to see firsthand how and skills in and outside of the classroom. I had an opportunity to be a trio at technical college, where I had school grants and the Student Support Services College grant. Being able to experience these programs through social and inspiring, these experiences gave me the academic and personal helping other first-gen and underrepresented Dakota County Technical College, and I became while I no longer work directly, how much they positively affect our student population. Trio, I have found my passion of students in my current role. Again, for those wanting higher education opportunities, access to education is essential. Trio has helped very different. I also believe my leadership skills and experience. I wouldn't have made so many hadn't been for Trio Upward Bound. Would not have had the confidence to apply for. I appreciate your time and thank you for having me.
But want to give a shout out to Ms. Olson, if you would introduce yourself.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In Bear Hills Community College. And as a former minimum wage for life, I signed up for college. For the first generation college. The first 2 years were what kind of resources could be available. The last year and a half, along with my decision to attend full-time, afternoon classroom visit from a few staff members to start asking about what TRIO is. So with that visit, it unpacked an entirely different and more accessible campus experience for me. TRIO has provided the flashlight through my work-study program that everything else made sense. So personally is that it reminded me that success. It was here that at TRIO that I learned that I wanted to do social work. I would have realized this if I hadn't gone. That my real path was social work. It's the hands-on environment. Very busy lately due to the issue. Always able to provide in most, like the all these things seem to, but when you add them up together, it's huge. It's a way for someone like me who once thought she was there and to make wonderful connections with people who my time or your time.
Zoom now, M. Hodge. Your testimony.
Amazing. Good afternoon, University Mankato. I'm also at the public Min-State universities. The opportunity for me to share and how the Department of Education policy. So I'm currently did my undergrad in social work at Mankato State. And when I tell people my career path, I'm often hit with the question of why I would enter a career with typically low pay. And this is a reality of my chosen profession. However, I did not enter this career path for money, but to serve communities in need. The average social worker with an undergrad degree can expect to make around $40,000 to $55,000, while a master's could result in $60,000 to $75,000 depending on licensure choice. Therefore, after I graduated, I took the risk to jump right into my master's to ensure I could make a livable salary. Now, these trade-offs are realities that I was aware of when I started my education. However, over the last year, the federal student aid landscape has shifted dramatically. Many students entered college expecting one set of repayment options and now find ourselves navigating a maze of new programs and rules. While the Biden administration's repayment options like the SAVE plan promised lower monthly payments and more forgiveness for low-income borrowers, this will now expire in 2026. Students are unsure which new plans they will qualify for, how to enroll, or whether the rules might change before we graduate. And the results brings anxiety, not just about paying loans, but about whether the system itself can be trusted to keep its promises, especially considering the major reductions at the Department of Education. Worried about pushing students into a less regular covered the full cost of graduate education students pursuing degrees in social work, payment options, and limited programs. This could mean fewer applicants for education, undermine this goals. Perhaps most PSLF program, if the Department of Education determines the department has also lowered the burden of proof for these federal changes are students. Students want to invest in difficult to plan for our futures and continuity and purpose. And our ability to contribute to a system we can count on. With that, thank you for listening and for your
I will go to Senator Dibble.
Thank you to all three of you for speaking out and speaking truth to power. Just in your connection and in contact and community conversation.
I can. It's been really heavy. I feel like a lot of people are, yeah, it's been very heavy. I feel worry about myself right now. I know that I want to graduate.
Especially as a staff member, year institutions, staff shortages, you know, how just home life to worry about, but then we also worry that they are successful and how can we help that personal kind of heavy fix everyone's problem, your own. So
Go ahead, Em.
question. Through talking to a lot of my classmates, I can echo there's a lot of fear and uncertainty about the lack of funding and a lot of things cut. For example, and he, with everything going on, had to change all of his plans right after graduating with his undergrad, but had to make that decision to pursue his master's degree. Otherwise, there were like banking on going into our master's just so we could live more sustainably. And those are kind of the hard choices we had to make, like from jumping right into our undergrad.
Oliver might have a question or have an answer to Senator May-Quade's interest rate question. Dr. Robinson, great. answer Senator Mayquate's question for us.
Question regarding the interest rates on the private student. And I want to give just a couple pieces of context first. One is that application, what interest rate they're going to get versus for you up front. For private, getting a fixed rate, whether they're getting a variable rate, what term, how many years they're don't have at the start. What we see is that for many of the private stated interest rate is somewhere. I do know that there are some percent, so that is an outlier. That's not where most folks are, but generally folks who are in the student loan, private student loan borrowing are probably going to be in a double digit. Senator Mann is no longer with us. Students, the reality is that these loans are usually not able to be discharged in bankruptcy either. Once they enter into these loans and this borrowing, it's not something, even if they, in most circumstances, discharge that in a bankruptcy setting. If you think about a student who is in that graduate and professional program, who's maybe needing in their borrowing sort of under the standard terms and at the they're going to be looking at loan payments of somewhere between $1,400 and $2,200. And so, I think it's a really a long-term and a generational impact to have that payment. That is a pretty, even though, we know that these are a significant debt burden to carry on, to begin their professional career with.
That I do have one quick follow-up. Have an interest in rates similar at in those settings.
Dr. Robinson?
Assume that they would likely be more comparable to that because that would be the sort of marketplace that they're entering into. But that yet.
Senator.
Basically, our president is basically shoving, as Senator Mann said, higher education and shoving them out of the public loan system to forcing them into private at credit card rates or their MasterCard and use revolving loan.
There are no airline miles for
comments. Has never been an accident. It is the direct result of intentional public investment in research, in higher education, in science, and in the innovation ecosystems that have powered our state for generations, from the University of Minnesota to Mayo Clinic, to our Minnesota State campuses, private colleges, and trade institutions across the region. These are the heart of a diversified economy that supports thousands of good jobs. And, Madam Chair, I think we've established without a doubt that entire engine. The Trump administration's decision to the NSF and others is deepest and where the return. It's an attack on workers, industry, our democracy. Sectors, healthcare, advanced manufacturing, computing, university, and in our more than $11.5 billion in state launch new companies. Last year, a record number of startups, as I mentioned, Mayo Clinic's research enterprise anchor and drives thousands of high-paying. Terminating those grants means clearing promising treatments for pediatrics. Senator McQuaid, Alzheimer's, chronic cancer grant. So aptly, immediate consequences, job loss in entire industry clusters in the country, and those companies depend on the stability. We have a headquarters economy, the tax soda. So let's be clear. They are about punishing, and in so doing, this administration of Minnesota and America. It voluntarily surrenders on those who aspire to public service. Its economic leadership. Place those billions of federal destabilizing and in words, the Trump administration is and damage our universities, jeopardize the future of workers and communities who depend on a strong research-driven economy. This economy has been built over generations. It 1 year or 2 years by continuing to work with this committee, with our entire legislature, with our friends. This testimony and this hearing today. People, industries, and economic vitality.
I really want to thank the students for coming and sharing your experience and your testimony with us, what this picture paints for us. About 50, with many notable exceptions, women broadly started going to college, when low-income people had access to college, and when people of color had access. College was not for any of those people. It was for white, wealthy men to go. Money from poor people. And what we are seeing today is the attempt to reinstitute in society to treat us as second-class of higher education. For example, which is wraparound, right? And helping people navigate going as a culture that if your parents didn't go, your experience is a generation college student, and it was passed down to you, which most of us don't. College broadly, and this isn't helping people we don't like. We don't want them to live longer. They want to control who has opportunity, who has their birth this year in 2025, for example. They want to stop teaching history so they can repeat it. That is what's happening. And so we are killing opportunities more than go to a job that they get. It's like two-pronged, right? It's like looked a lot more like 19. I don't like it and I'm not for it. And I want to thank the students in particular for sitting in front of exactly who we want, are brilliant and have so much at college. And guy who can't let go of the 70s and 80s and hates how the country has changed since then. Floored because the fulcrum of this is about like right at the end here when I was hearing the students all tell your stories and then hearing I don't even pay that on my house, 10%. I mean, enriching the richest people to drive people into and learn and get ahead. And I also want to say that higher education is about, do anything with poetry here, but it was worth knowing about because it's a beautiful part. One example, I also don't do geology, and I really enjoyed my geology courses. It's purpose for building a better world, to solving the biggest problems, distributed equally, but opportunity is not. It's deeply disturbing, quite frankly. People they work with, they talk about the work they do, the work they want us, our country to succeed. So we've heard today, and the to be a partner was supposed to do their job. We were going to continue to fight alongside you. We believe in the inherent value, dignity, and worth of you as students, you as institutions, the students you serve, the research you do, the problems you're trying to solve, the beautiful. It is worth fighting alongside. And we have a lot of work ahead of us.
Senator Mayquade, today for your testimony, questions, and comments felt the most absurd to me. Like, ideology, like, unless you only want sometimes it feels we're like every 2 weeks we subject of something terrible that's happening to our state and through that it has no harming people and meeting with students and faculty. Someone made the point, don't just learn new facts, what it is to become citizens and who work together. Of teachers, nurses, legislators, research grants that the federal government is cutting will cost jobs in the short term, and the loss of those discoveries will cost lives. The cuts to tuition support and student workable for many Minnesotans. Education, as many of you were. Families will all pay the price. Research tells us that there are only change the economic fortune for a family for generations. One is the other is higher education. We can come to printing lottery tickets. Made higher education a priority in our of higher education, and we've worked to open that opportunity for all Minnesotans. Continue to do that for years to come. I know you all day when we have a federal and I do want to say I hope that my colleagues on the other side of the aisle are hearing you. We will send the link to today's hearing. 5 pieces of like spells all of this stuff out. And I hope we can all fight together for our state. Thank you so much for being here today. We are